Hello everybody, I'm Scott T. Peterson and welcome to another Animation Spotlight. Today we feature Tidan Hofstedt. I first worked with Tidan on the Heffalump movie. We were both brought onto that show to do some development animation for the overseas animators. He was assigned to the baby Heffalump and I to the mama Heffalump. It was so fun to see how much personality and appeal that he brought to that little character. But what else would you expect from a world-class animator with years of experience under his belt? Some of my favorite things that he's done, just to name a few, are he was the lead animator on the character Arrow in Treasure Planet. I just love that character, especially the dialogue scenes. On the same show, he did early character development work on the robot Ben. He was the lead animator on the Emperor of China in Mulan. He also did the Voodoo Dolls and the Princess and the Frog. That would showcase some of his more creative and graphic work. And in Aladdin, he animated Gazim the thief, who ended up getting swallowed up by the Cave of Wonders. Now he's got too many movie credits to list here, but some of them are An American Tale, The Land Before Time, Aladdin, The Lion King, Pocahontas, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mulan, Tarzan, Treasure Planet, Mickey's Three Musketeers, Monster House, Planes, a bunch of DC Lego shows, The Princess and the Frog, Green Eggs and Ham, and most recently, the Animaniacs TV series. So as you can imagine, it's been my great pleasure to have worked with Tidan on several different shows throughout the years. So I can tell you firsthand that he's a very smart and talented animator with a cool head and a kind manner which has served him throughout his career. He is also a very accomplished musician who loves to write his own music. I loved it when he would take out his guitar during his break time and fill the air with his beautiful music. He has a very soul-soothing style, which I imagine he gained from growing up in Hawaii. But I'm going to let him tell you about it in his own words. So sit back, relax, and enjoy getting to know a little bit about T. Daniel Hofstedt.
I grew up at Disneyland, in quotes, because my dad did caricatures and portraits there. He also cut silhouettes on Main Street, so he was kind of doing all kinds of art at Disneyland. And I remember on Main Street, you could go in there, and they had these little flip books. They were like about this big, and they cost about 50 cents back then. So you save your allowance, and you go in, and you could see Donald Duck, throwing a tantrum, or you could see Jiminy Cricket running and putting on his vest or whatever. So these little things that you could buy and collect. And I bought a few of them. I wish I still had them. Those would be treasures. But I remember looking at those. Oh, look, it's just a drawing. It's so cool. And then also at that age, I was 6, 7, 8 years old, the old Walt Disney TV show on Sunday nights. And every once in a while, you'd see Uncle Walt up there, and he'd be going around. And I remember when Jungle Book was coming out, he went around to the different artists, and they say, hey, what do you got going there? Let's see what you got. And then they flip the drawings. You just saw those drawings come to life, and you go, wow, that is so cool. You just were inspired that it's a guy and a pencil and a piece of paper making this guy walk or laugh or cry, and it was just magic. I moved to Hawaii when my dad started a caricature business there. He left Disneyland and started his own business doing caricatures, the big head, small body, 1-minute sketches for tourists at the International Marketplace in Waikiki. And during my teenage years, I would cashier for him and sell frames and interact with the public and look over his shoulder drawing. And he taught me the caricature art, and it was a great training ground, and it was a great foundation for me as far as animation goes in the future, because I was drawing all the time, and it was drawing quickly. Seeing quickly is how my dad put it. You would see quickly and then draw. And he said, don't hurry. It doesn't matter how fast your fingers go, but you should see quickly. And that tip kind of has stuck with me over the years in animation as well. When you get a vision of what you want to do, you get that quickly, and then you draw it out and flesh it out with your pencil. It was great advice. Another thing my dad taught me, and this stuck with me for years, a lot of people think of the caricature form, especially the amusement park style that was, as kind of a formula thing. But truly, my dad, having been a portrait artist, his motto was, when in doubt, defer to reality. Meaning that, hey, don't just put, nose number 7 or mouth number 5 or eye number 6 or whatever. There's not a formula. It's see what it is about that person that makes them unique and try to capture that. Tell the truth in the drawing. Even though it's a cartoony truth, it's still the truth of what makes that person unique. And that concept carried over into my animation. I took a design class where you could do any kind of project. You can choose your medium. And I thought, I think I'll do an animated film. And my teacher, who was an old school, very classically trained artist, we had to pitch our idea to the teacher and the rest of the class to see if this would be worthy for the semester. And I said, I want to do an animated film. He said, animation? What do you want to do animation for? That's like prostituting your art to sell sugar to children on Saturday mornings. I mean, that's no way to be an artist. And I thought, no, like it's really cool. It's like Fantasia and Snow White and Sleeping Beauty. And yeah, but they don't do that anymore. So no, but it's waking up. And he said, okay, well, we'll see what you can do. So fast forward, I spent that semester, did a little Super 8 film, was staying up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, just was so into it that I just loved it. I just loved being able to flip something and go, look, it moves. I'd say amateurish now, of course. I really had no training, but I just wanted to do it. And I worked it out, got an A in the class. My teacher said, well, looks like you're really serious about this animation stuff, but we don't teach that here. I think if you're really serious about animation, you should check this out. And he had cut out an article from the Sunday supplement papers, this Parade magazine, what they used to have on the Sunday papers. And it was a little article about John Lasseter, who had just won his Student Academy Award for a short film he had made at CalArts. So a special Oscar for a student film. Said, if you're serious about animation, you should check this out. And it was about CalArts. It was California Institute of the Arts. And so I checked it out. I went to the campus, met the director, who was Jack Hanna. He was the founding director of the program up there. He was hurrying out, but he ended up spending 45 minutes with me. He had his briefcase. He was ready to go there. Hi, Mr. Hanna, can I talk to you about it? Okay. And he started showing me stuff. He showed me samples of portfolios. This is what you're up against. You got to draw at least this good or better. And, you got to go to the zoo. You got to do figure drawing. You got to do quick sketches. So I was really lucky that he spent that time just to kind of say, well, if you want to do this is what you got to do. So I went and followed his advice. I ended up applying. I got accepted for the following year, and I was lucky enough to continue my animation education at CalArts. When I went to CalArts, it was a great time. We had Jack Hanna, who was the director of the program, and Bob McRae. Bill Moore was the design teacher. We had Teehee, who was caricature and story. We had Elmer Plummer, who was the figure drawing teacher, and he designed the mushrooms in Fantasia sequence. Bob McRae was a lifelong assistant to some of the great animators. He really knew his stuff as far as how to animate. And there was Hal Ambro, who had for a year, who took over. Teehee was really the most influential of my teachers. Now that's T.Hee, and he's actually part of the reason why I go by Tidan, because I've always gone by my middle name. Everyone knows me as Dan. But when I went to CalArts, there was already another Dan there, Dan Jupe, and he was a wonderkind. I mean, he was already animating Disney style at 17. I mean, he was really great. And so I was the other Dan, because Dan was super great, and he is great. He's worked at Pixar, he's worked at Disney, he really knows his stuff. But as when our end of the semester art show for the caricature class came, I put in the corner of my couple of my drawings that I put up, I put Tidan as, you know, just my signature, because I had devised this kind of clunky signature that had my whole first, middle, and last name, and it was kind of this graphic that I thought was cool. But here I was doing these very simple, elegant, you know, 3 or 4 lines of a drawing, and then this giant, chunky, supposed neat signature, and I thought, no, that doesn't look right. You know, it just looked kind of pretentious. So I thought, just for fun, I put Tidan in the corner there. And from there, my classmates started calling me that. It was, hey, Tidan, hey, how you doing? Hey, Tidan. So it became my kind of animation nickname. But it was really as a tribute to Tihi, who was very influential. He taught me so much about caricature and simplicity and observing life. I mean, between him and my dad, you know, with the foundation that my dad had given me with caricatures, Tihi brought it to the next level to kind of give me the confidence to pursue animation in a serious way. When I left CalArts, I was really looking forward to working at some place like Disney if I could, and you know, a lot of my classmates were already at Disney. I was lucky enough to have gotten a tour of Hanna-Barbera from a neighbor who was a producer there, a gentleman by the name of Kay Wright. And he had worked at Disney like in the 40s and 50s, and now he was a producer at Hanna-Barbera at the time. And I drew his caricature at a party one night, and my wife said, "Oh, go show it to him, go show it to him." And so I brought it over to him, and he looked at it and said, "Hey, that's pretty good. That looks like me. What do you do?" I said, "Well, I'm a CalArts student. I want to get into animation." I said, "Well, how'd you like a tour of Hanna-Barbera?" You know, so we arranged. I went down at lunch and had a tour, and Kay Wright showed me around. That little tour, I met a couple of the directors there, and one was a gentleman by the name of Jay Sarbury, who was another kind of old timer, had been around for years and years, very close to retirement, and got introduced to him. So fast forward a little while, when I was trying to apply at Disney and other places, I got a call from Jay Sarbury. Said, "Hey Dan, can you start on Monday?" And I go, "Yeah, for what?" He said, "Yeah, we're animating Smurfs, and we can start you out as a journeyman. Is that okay?" And I go, "Yeah, let's go." So I went and showed up on Monday morning, and I was hired as a journeyman animator to animate the Smurfs TV show. The second day I was there, he comes into the office and said, "You know what, do you go by another name? We can't find you in the union roles." I said, "Well, I'm not in the union yet." And he goes, "Oh, wait, what? Oh, no." And he was like, "Okay, wait, hang on." He goes out, and then he comes back with another guy, and he had me fill out some papers and stuff, and then I was in the union. So I joined the union the day after I was hired, because he had written my name down as a young animator, you know, the day that I met him on the tour. And I guess when they were trying to fill the ranks, they said, "Hey, we got a season to go. We got to find the kids." "Oh, that guy's gone. That guy's gone. He went over to Filmation. He's at Disney. Oh, there's this kid. Oh, he came in one time. Okay, yeah, let's hire him." So not knowing that not remembering that I was just a student. But they kept me for a whole season. I was there for about 3 months as we animated in-house, and got my first union job, my first animation credit, and that was kind of a stepping stone for things to follow. After Smurfs ended, I was able to latch on to a place called Apogee, which was a special effects house. It's actually the Southern California remnant of what became Lucasfilm. So I was able to get on at Apogee as doing tone mats, which was basically blocking out areas of the live action to allow practical effects elements to be layered in compositing. So that led me to one of the people that was painting those tone mats, because we'd trace out the outline and then someone else would paint them in, was a painter for animation. And she said, "Oh, have you tried Sullivan Bluth? Have you gone to Don Bluth?" And because they're starting up, they're doing something with Spielberg, some kind of mouse thing. You should check that out. I had already applied at Bluth, actually in my years at CalArts. I would go up there and they were doing the video games, and they were kind of on the map, like, oh, that's a cool place to work, and if you can get in there. I dropped off my portfolio there. This was years before. And I showed it to Mel Griffin, who at the time was their production guy. He looked at it and he said, "Well, yeah, this is not bad, And I was a student at CalArts. I was pretty green, and he goes, "Yeah, you should think about going to the zoo more. You should probably get a lot more drawing." So he put my portfolio on this one side of the room, and this was like 9:30 in the morning. I went to the zoo that day. I stopped at Aaron Brothers, got myself a sketchbook. I went straight to the zoo. I filled that whole thing up. Every page was filled with drawings. I went back to the studio that day at about 5:30, caught Mel Griffin on the way out, and I said, "Hey, can you put this in my portfolio, include that?" "Oh, did you do this today?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Not bad. Hey, these are pretty good. All right, cool." So he put it in with my portfolio, but then he took the portfolio and put it on the other side of the room. So I don't know this for sure. This is my own imagination, perhaps, but I felt like I was in the "no chance, buddy, no way, you're never going to get in," to, I don't know, this guy might have potential pile. So from one pile to the other. So fast forward now, go back to Apogee was ending. I applied again at Bluth. I got a call. "Can you come in on Monday?" Kind of lightning striking twice. I went in and I met John Pomeroy for the first time. John Pomeroy was one of their top producer, director, their king animator, basically. He's, a brilliant, great artist. He goes, "Are you Dan Hofstedt?" And I go, "Yeah." "Come with me." And we walked upstairs to his office, and he goes, "You're the guy that went to the zoo that day, aren't you?" And I go, "Yeah, we've had our eye on you. We knew you had potential. So how'd you like to be my assistant?" And I go, "Sign me up, let's go." And that was really like the door opening for me to really learn how to animate. I mean, I could move stuff around, and I had done things. I did Smurfs, but still, it wasn't like big screen, full length feature film animation. And here, John Pomeroy remembered that I had that desire. I went to the zoo. I filled up the sketchbook, and backstage they thought, "Hey, this guy looks like he's got something. Let's keep an eye on him." Now the time wasn't right then, but a couple years later, there I was, and they remembered that. And that to me is one of the biggest breakthroughs for my career, was having done that little small thing with the zoo, but them remembering it, and now here the opportunity was presented, and it was up to me to walk through the door and try to rise to the occasion.